Everybody, how you doing today? It's a new day, it's a fresh day. I hope you're up, shaking, and baking. My name is Paul Fu. I am an international sales coach, TEDx speaker, and entrepreneur. Some people actually say Africa's #1 sales coach. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And if you've not subscribed to this YouTube channel already, what are you waiting for? So smash that subscribe button and let's go. Today, I want to be talking to you about the laws of productivity and how they relate to sales and your business and, of course, eventually your personal life. Why is productivity very, very important? Because, hey, we all have 24 hours. The richest man in this world has the same 24 hours that you have. The difference is in how they use their 24 hours. Have you ever asked yourself how come some people get a lot more done in 24 hours or in 16 hours when they wake up for work? So I'm going to help you with some frameworks that may help you today resolve some of that issue. Productivity is basically useful output, useful input in less time. In other words, getting a lot of work done in less time. So let's go into the laws. We'll work on 3 laws today. The first law is called the Parkinson's law. I'm sure you've heard about that law. It's a very popular law. I think it was popularized by a guy called Cyril Parkinson, a British historian and writer. And the law states that work expands to fill the time that is allocated to it. Work expands to fill the time allocated to it. So that means that if I tell you, submit this report to me on Friday, you will work as hard as you can to submit it to me on Friday. But if I also tell you that submit this report to me in 24 hours, you will also work hard to submit that report to me in 24 hours. So what happened is that you did the work to fill the time that I allocated to it. All right, so how does this relate to sales? How does this relate to you as an entrepreneur or as a salesperson? It's a very, very simple assignment. Very, very simple. You need to tell yourself that this is the time you want to get certain work done and do it. For example, if I ask you, when are you going to make the sales calls? When are you going to put up that content? If you tell me next week, it would be next week. But if you tell me I will do it in 5 hours, in 6 hours, you will also do it in 5 hours or in 6 hours. So why don't you give yourself some form of artificial restraint? You know, as I'm recording this thing right now in my home studio, I put to myself, I said, I'm going to work from this time to this time. All right. It's an artificial restraint that I've put on myself. So what happens is that I will do all my work to fill the time that I allocated to myself. Another thing that can help you use this Parkinson's law is you can actually go and meet a friend of yours or a colleague of yours and tell them that I'm going to do X, so I'm going to make 5 sales calls today or 10 sales calls today between 1 o'clock to 1:20. If I don't do it, I will pay you for not doing that. That forces you to exemplify the Parkinson's law in your life. So don't be procrastinating things. Do it now. That's the first law. The second law of productivity is called the Pareto Principle. It was popularized by an Italian economist called Alfredo Pareto, and it discovered that 80% of the land in Italy was owned by 20% of the Italian families. You know, that was years ago. But that principle still operates in every aspect of our lives. It basically means that 80% of your results will come from 20% of your inputs, of your activities, or of your efforts. 80% of your sales will come from 20% of your sales activities. 80% of your revenue will come from 20% of your customers. So you want to ask yourself, where is the 80%? What are the 20% activities that I must do to ensure that I have 80% of my sales? How many calls do I need to make? Is it videos? Is it content? See, because when you understand the critical 20% of the activities that is responsible for your success, you do a deep dive on those. You have what I call deep work on those. That's what Carl Newport calls deep work. You know, if you know that, hey, if I make calls, if I put out content on a regular basis, which is my top 20%, all right, it will generate 80% of the sales that I want. If I know those activities, what do? I focus my attention on those activities. And then the last law of productivity, which is the third law that I'll be discussing here, is Newton's first law of motion. Newton's first law of motion. Newton states that an object would let me read it out. An object is at rest or traveling at a constant velocity unless it is acted upon by an external force. That's very, very powerful. That means that if you don't do anything, nothing will happen. But if you start taking action, you can't stop. So the trick here is start it, and don't start big. So if you know that you are going to make 10 sales calls, just start with 2. If you know that you are going to do a 1-hour content, just start with 5 minutes. All right, start small, because you know that according to Newton's law, if you start, that means you're in motion, you will remain in motion. But if you don't start, you will remain static unless an external force is exerted on you. And for some people, they don't take action unless an external force is exerted on them. And sometimes that external force is that you lose clients, you get fired from your job, yada 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 yada. So don't wait for the external force. Be your internal motivation to take action. So again, let's recall the 3 laws of productivity that I spoke about today that will help you in your sales and your business. Number one is what? Let me know if you have been paying attention. Number 1 is Parkinson's law. Number 2 is Pareto Principle, and then number 3 is Newton's first law of motion. If you apply these 3 things, it will help you a lot. If you enjoyed this video, please click on the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Share it with your friends. Tell your friends about it. I would really, really appreciate it. And drop a comment if you really, really enjoyed it. Do have a fantastic day, and God bless you. Let's go.